We got the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. It's going to be the final bowl game of Saturday. It's a 9:15 kickoff. Think of a little bit of a tribute to the Pack After Dark. Rest in peace to that Pack After Dark. It's not going to be the same after this year. But the Radiance Technology Independence Bowl, it's going to take place between Texas Tech and the California Bears. Now, Texas Tech and Cal, they both had to kind of clutch up here in the second half of the season in order to be here in the first place. Both teams are 3-2 in their last 5 games, so both teams are carrying a certain amount of momentum, just kind of in different ways. Texas Tech had their 3-game winning streak snapped by the University of Texas, who is in the college football playoff, lost to them by 50. Cal, meanwhile, was able to get a 3-game winning streak of their own, including a surprising win against UCLA. We just talked about them in the previous bowl preview. So both of these teams are carrying a decent amount of momentum. Cal is led by Justin Wilcock, who has a 1-1 bowl record. Joey McGuire leads Texas Tech, who has a 1-0 bowl record. Cal is also making their first bowl appearance since before COVID, when they played in the 2019 Red Box Bowl, where Cal ultimately beat Illinois 35-20. So on the surface, seems that both teams are carrying a decent amount of momentum. But Texas Tech is listed as of right now, at least as of Thursday afternoon, a 3-point favorite. So why is Cal considered a little bit of a favorite here? We'll talk about Texas Tech and kind of what gives them the edge in the eyes of Vegas, as well as some keys to watch out for from the Texas Tech side of things. So Texas Tech, they came in as this team that was seen as a potential dark horse to win the Big 12. And unfortunately, they fell really short of that, but still some talented pieces playing in this game. Even though Texas Tech, admittedly, they're not going to be at full strength. There's plenty of Red Raiders that have jumped into the transfer portal, but even then, there should be enough pieces to put everything together, and they should still be okay. Even at receiver, they're going to lose 2 of their 3 top targets as well, Jerron Bradley and Miles Price. They are in the transfer portal and will not be playing in this bowl game. However, I say this because Texas Tech, this is not the same Texas Tech team that we see in past years where they throw the ball 50 to 60 times a game. They still do it, but there's a little bit more balance, and there's also a decent rotation available that will help pick up the slack. However, Texas Tech, and the biggest thing that you're monitoring if you're pulling for Texas Tech to win this game, is the health of Brandon Morton. He's been the backup quarterback for the vast majority of the season. He, however, is the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future because Tyler Shaw has entered the transfer portal. He has settled in on Louisville. So Morton is taking over the duties. He should be solid and more effective now that he's had some extra reps. But it's not guaranteed that Morton is going to play in this game. So if Morton doesn't play, who would start for Texas Tech? And it seems likely they would play a guy by the name of Jake Strong, a freshman out of Justin, Texas. He's played in 2 games this year. He's a true freshman. He's thrown 2 touchdowns. Okay, not bad for doing that in 2 games. 6 interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions in the Kansas State loss, and then threw another 3 interceptions in the BYU loss as well. So if Jake Strong has to play in this game, he might have talent, but he's certainly raw. And when he showed in those 2 games against Kansas State and BYU, he's not ready to play at the college football level, at least not yet at this FBS level. So Hopefully, Brandon Morton does play, but it's certainly not a guarantee, all things considered. However, regardless of whether it's a Brandon Morton or a first-string quarterback that's going to step in, this Cal defense isn't slowing anything down in the passing game. Cal does not have a pass rush. They've been able to generate very few plays, like in the backfield, running or passing. And overall, this defense has allowed over 400 yards per game. This is why this has shootout written all over it. I wouldn't blame you for thinking this way. And the lack of pressure is disconcerting because this is a secondary that allows over 280 yards per game. So if you're Morton, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm a backup quarterback, but you know what the mantra is for backup quarterbacks? You don't have to be the reason you win the game. Just don't be the reason your team loses. And so if I'm the Texas Tech coach, I'm walking over to Morton, asking him how he's doing. And I'm just asking you, hey, hit 60% of your throws. Because if you're in that 60 to 65% area, Texas Tech should be fine. Matter of fact, when Texas Tech completes 62% of its passes or more, they're 4-2. And that's what they did for the most part in their last 5 games of the year. That's why they're in a bowl game. And Cal will have a problem on his hand. But more than anything else, I say this because I'm telling Warren, you don't have to take any unnecessary chances as well. You don't have to force anything down the field. Because when you start forcing things down the field, that could be a recipe of disaster. When Texas Tech turns the ball over 3 or more times, they have not been able to win any games. They just, while they're more talented on paper, they're still not to a point where they can make multiple mistakes and still win the game. They're not there yet still, in my opinion. They're just going to have to be willing to eat a bad play, live to fight another day, because Cal, on the other hand, well, we talked about how bad Cal's defense has been. The one thing that Cal can actually do is they can force turnovers. So while they give up points, they give up a ton of points. They give up a ton of yards. This is no secret, guys. But they get turnovers, Bo. They do play optimistically because there's 7 times this year when they're able to get multiple takeaways. And for a team like Cal that has very little margin of error, that's a big deal. Matter of fact, you want to talk about when they force 3 or more turnovers. This Cal team is 4-1. And actually, the one game that they lost, it was the Auburn game in non-conference play. Cal honestly should have won that game. That being said, Cal is going to miss a few parts to the transfer portal, but the only major loss that they have is Caleb Erlems, or other than that, there shouldn't be significant issues. Now, on the offensive side of the ball for Cal, they have a freshman quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who's been playing for this whole season. He does lead the team in passing yards and all that. 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He hasn't been amazing. He's not a world beater by any means, but at this point, he's settled in. He's been good to throw for 2 or more touchdown passes in the last 6 or 7 games. He doesn't have to carry the load offensively because he's got a really good running back in the backfield as well. Jaden Ott, he has over 1,200 yards on the ground, 11 touchdowns. Could very well have 1,400 yards on the ground by the time he's done. If he can average 5 yards per game, and this Texas Tech defense is not elite in the stopping of the run, Cal's going to be right in this game, and they're going to be fine. So, and they're also going up a team in Texas Tech that is not, they're just about as bad as Cal when it comes to controlling the clock. They're about the same. They're also as bad as the California defense when it comes to getting to the backfield. They're not a very good pass rush team. So we'll see how this game goes. It really could go in either direction. I think about this game, this Independence Bowl. Okay. I think that Texas Tech is missing some more significant pieces than what Cal is missing. And even if both of these teams were at full strength, I would believe that they're very evenly matched. So I understand why Texas Tech is a -3 here. The model thinks differently. The model thinks that Cal should be favored by 6.5 points. Um, I think Cal covers this. I think Cal wins this game as well because I just think they're carrying slightly more momentum. I think they're just a little bit more at full strength than Texas Tech is. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a real competitive game, like many of these bowl games likely will be. Be very shocked if this is a blowout in either direction. So we're going with Cal to win and Cal to cover as well. But that's mainly because I'm going with the model. I don't have the most confidence in Cal. I don't feel good. I don't feel great about the pick. We'll put it that way.